बीच भारतीय प्रशासनिक सेवा के पूर्व अधिकारी आदरणीय श्री ओपी रावत जी उपस्थित हैं। कृपया जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत कीजिए आदरणीय सर का। प्रशासन अकादमी से सर का जुड़ाव लंबे अरसे से है। वे यहाँ के तमाम कार्यक्रमों में तो हिस्सा लेते ही रहे हैं और प्रशासन अकादमी में जब सेडकॉम सेंटर शुरू हुआ था उसके भी आपने कई साक्षी बने हुए हैं और कई कार्यक्रमों को आपने यहाँ से कंडक्ट कराया है। हम सर के बहुत बहुत शुक्रगुजार हैं कि आज के इस कार्यक्रम में वो फिर से हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं। हम उनका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं और स्वागत के लिए मैं निवेदन करता हूं आदरणीय ममता खेड़े मैडम से कि वे सर का स्वागत करेंगे अंगवस्त्र, पौधा और गोंडी पेंटिंग के साथ। तालियों की आवाज जोरदार हो जाए। तो स्वागत के इस क्रम के बाद अब मैं निवेदन करता हूं संकेत मित्तल माय भारत प्रशिक्षण कार्यक्रम के प्रशिक्षु अधिकारी से कि वे सर के बारे में संक्षिप्त परिचय दें।
Good evening, everyone, sir, ma'am, and my fellow colleagues. I'd like to thank you, Mr. O.P. Rawat, sir, retired IAS officer from the 1977 batch of the MP cadre, who has also served as the 22nd Chief Election Commissioner. He also served as one of the 2 Election Commissioners of India and the Public Enterprise Secretary of India. Sir is a graduate in BSc and also a postgraduate MSc in Physics from the Banaras Hindu University, Banaras, and has a postgraduate degree MSc in Social Development Planning from United Kingdom. Sir has worked in various fields including agriculture, defense procurement, empowerment of weaker sections, women, SC/ST welfare, and district administration. With this, I would like to hand over the mic to O.P. Rawat sir for his words to our fellow trainees. Thank you.
और अब मैं सादर आमंत्रित कर रहा हूं आदरणीय सर को कि वे आज के इस अवसर पर हम सभी को संबोधित करें और हम सबसे जुड़ी हुई कुछ विशेष बातें भी हमसे साझा करें।
Very good afternoon to you all. It is always a pleasure to interact with young minds, and Sanket Mittal, as one of your representatives, has impressed me immensely. So today's subject given to me is elections, and elections are always in the air in India. Not a single day goes without any talk about election, electoral roll, SIR, or something or the other. Because though we started very nicely against all the doomsayings of Britishers when they left, we had no constitution, we had no laws, and still we decided that we will give universal suffrage, means voting right to everyone, irrespective of education, irrespective of financial status, because this never happened in any democracy. Even the gender. UK gave voting rights to their women in 1928, as late as that. But we gave that right to everyone who was above 6 days, that is 21 years earlier, now it is 18, to everyone from day one, as soon as we became independent. That was really very progressive. And Britishers criticized that you will be ruining your country by doing this. And all of you the officers who manned those positions of conducting elections since 1951, they have proved them wrong. Every time elections in India proved to be free, fair, credible, and transfer of power was always bloodless. Nothing. You might have seen in previous presidential election in the greatest country of the world that Capitol was stormed because of the disgruntlement on results. That kind of thing never happened in India. Every time, whatever results were given by the people's mandate was accepted by all stakeholders, all political parties, everyone, and peaceful transfer of power took place. With that intro, I would like to tell you that the major issue at the root of elections is political conflict. Who will rule? Earlier, how was it decided? Battles and wars. Panipat, Plassey, all those kind of Haldi Ghati, killing thousands and lakhs of people. Only then it was decided as to who will rule. In a democracy, elections replaced these battles and wars. The most peaceful method of deciding the political conflict. But it also raises expectations. Today, people say that they are giving abusive speeches, they are doing this, they are doing that. They want that everything should be spick and span without anything wrong here or there, not even a word. But then can you imagine what kind of election will that be? Media will have nothing to report. Because if everything is going on normally, what will media say? People will not know when the elections have passed. So something has to happen. Because many of you are going to be in fields of sports. Even in sports, for a medal, people try to do anything and everything. Here is at stake either the throne or you are in the dumps. So people will do everything during elections. The first election was really difficult in our country. You may not even be able to visualize because you are a generation with digital technology and all those things. When first Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. Sukumar Sen, ex-ICS, he undertook, I already told you that no constitution. You have to frame your own constitution because constitution came in 1950. He was tasked in 1947 that you have to make an electoral roll. These days, we have an electoral roll already. We just have to make some additions and alterations. All those youngsters who come of age, they have to be included. All those who are dead, migrated, they have to be deleted. But at that time, the electoral roll was very different because Britishers had given voting rights under Government of India Act to only landed people, moneyed people, taxpayers and educated. So the voter list of India used to have just about 40 million or 4 crore voters. Whereas when Mr. Sukumar Sen made the first electoral roll for first election in 1951, it had 17.5 crore. 175 million. From 40 million, 175 million. In the conditions, no mobile phone, no internet, no telephone. You know, the telephone was also very rudimentary. Pick up the phone, wait for the exchange to ask you, number please, then give the number, then he will connect. And postal services, Going to the village, latter used to take 15, 20 days. And literacy levels, Britishers left us with just 12% literacy. So, voters were not ready to read the ballot paper, to mark something on ballot paper. So they had to decide that voter will not have to do anything, they will be given a slip, and as many candidates are seeking election in a constituency, all polling stations will have as many ballot boxes. If 11 candidates are there, 11 ballot boxes with their photo, with their name, so that voter can recognize, and that slip is put in that ballot box. Wherever the slip is found, the vote will be considered that you have given the vote to him. Imagine the kind of difficulties. And India had no manufacturer of ballot box, no company manufacturing these kind of complicated boxes, because you have to have these boxes in such a manner that first you have to show to every candidate that this is the box, no votes have already been stuffed inside, it's empty. Then you have to put some vulnerable paper seal so that it can be broken for counting and taken out. No locks, nothing. Then Election Commission found one company able to do these jobs, making ballot boxes. And numbers, imagine, as many candidates. If today's numbers in one constituency, there may be 200 candidates. Carrying 200 ballot boxes would have been impossible for any polling team, because polling team comprises only about 5 people. Impossible. So with all those challenges, first elections were held on time and results were declared on time in 52, early 52. And Britishers ate an humble pie that India proved us wrong. That kind of miracle India delivered because Election Commission had resources, young officers, because Election Commission comprising only one man at that time. Now it is 3. One Chief Election Commissioner and 2 Election Commissioners. At that time it was only 1. With 1 man supported by just about 100 people staff in Delhi, sitting in Delhi, they cannot deliver this. They delivered this through young people like you who were manning the offices in districts, in subdivisions, in tehsils, in police thanas, all those people. Because our constitution makers thought that the countries who have permanent election machinery are wasting resources. Because elections are held periodically, say in 5 years, once. Now for 5 years having that permanent staff is waste of resources. So they made a provision in constitution which is remarkable. They wrote that whenever Chief Election Commissioner asks the President, in case of central government employees or a governor, in case of state government employees, they shall provide. And if you know the law, wherever shall is used, it becomes mandatory. That if Election Commission has put the hand on Sanket Mittal, that we need him, Governor Saab cannot say, I won't give him. He has to give. As many people and whosoever you want. Every person will come on board to Election Commission for the purpose of electoral work. That provision is standing in good stead to date, even today. We are the only democracy with this kind of provision where Election Commission had the upper hand over the President and Governor. Neither President can refuse or say, don't take this, nor the Governor can refuse. With those provisions, elections were held in 51, 52. Constitution came into being in 1950. And you know the interesting thing is that on 25th January, Election Commission was set up because our rulers were worried that Election Commission should not be under the influence of any dispensation, neither the ruling party nor anybody else. So they first set up election commission on 25th January 1950, and constitution came into force on 26th January 1950. And then laws were drafted based on the experience of making the electoral roll during that period, 47 to 51. Because they had to grapple with all the refugees from west side, West Pakistan side, millions had come here, and East Pakistan side, millions had come here, and many of them, people had gone there. They were in refugee camps, no addresses, nothing with them. Even then you had to prepare an electoral roll including their names, their addresses, their whereabouts, everything. With all those challenges, it could be completed because laws were being framed based on your own experience. So this process resulted in two laws also. Representation of People Act 1950, which especially lays down all the processes of eligibility, who can vote, who can register as voter, how the registration will take place, what kind of revisions can be done. And another, Representation of People Act 1951, which lays down all the sections relating to conduct of poll, and after conduct of poll, disqualification of candidate if they are caught doing something wrong, violations, all those things, and powers of election commission. With those laws, we delivered something which Britishers never fathomed that India will be able to do it. And there are some anecdotes, like first election, vote, because people were illiterate, so even after awareness campaigns, it could not be put to them totally that you have to go to the polling station and you have to put the slip in the ballot box. Many slips were found on live election symbol available in a field or some road or somewhere. That voter went from his house and on the road found an election symbol, so put the slip there. Didn't go to the polling station. Even those things were there. You can very well imagine what kind of situation our election commission faced and our officers in the field faced. And that is how we came. But slowly, election process, conduct of election machinery, it matured. And a period came when it became very sort of vulnerable organization, because political maturity started coming, whereas the elections were being taken for granted. अभी तक अच्छा हुआ है तो अभी भी अच्छा हो जाएगा. Whereas that is not so, because when it becomes contentious, when all the parties become restless, that they also have to win, they also have to rule some part of the country, then things become a little difficult. That is what happened. And then there was one chief election commissioner, you might be knowing, Mr. T.N. Sheshan. He came and brought the whole process again on the center stage. And he put the fear in most powerful of the politicians. So much so that within 3 years of his tenure, the national government decided to make it a 3-member body and amended the rules of business of election commission, saying that all decisions at the election commission shall be taken unanimously or by majority vote, so that this chief election commissioner could be constrained by new 2 appointees to behave. That happened in 93, because he was appointed CEC in 90 and 93 government had to do this. But even that is serving well, because in place of one brain, three brains are better. And presumption is always this, that every Indian works for India. Not for any politicians or not for any political party or anything. We are nationalists and we always work for our country. And this certificate was given by none other than by a president in a function in Delhi, when he told to everyone, in fact foreign dignitaries were also there, and it was a packed hall, where he said that these bureaucrats, these officers who are sitting here or who work in the field, when they work under a political ruling party, they carry out their orders, they carry out their programs with total commitment, total dedication, and deliver to their satisfaction. But when these people come on board of election commission, they ensure that all the politicians, including the Prime Minister, they dance to the tune of electoral laws, electoral rules. Nobody is spared by them. And that was a big thumbs up for conduct of elections in our country. That President himself or herself saying this with those kind of credentials, and that is not for election commissioners or CEC, that is for millions of people who are engaged for conduct of elections. You know, in our country, when elections are held to Lok Sabha, we have nearly 1.5 crore people working for election commission. 15 million people working for election commission, and that is election commission, because everyone, down to the booth level officer, becomes election commission. So 15 million people working, and they deliver. And that is why I am saying that all these people are election commission for conduct of elections. An image of election commission is built by the weakest link, the weakest employee who succumbs to any pressure, does anything wrong, violates any rule or law. That makes the reputation, or that marks the reputation. This has happened, what have you done? That kind of thing. But fortunately, I can tell you that worldwide, India's elections, even somebody from US who was on top there, when visited Delhi, claimed that India's elections are always gold standard to the world. And whole world has a lot of things to learn from India's elections. That is a big credit for India's elections. So I think I'll stop here so that you also have, and we can see a video, 8 minutes, which will give you a visual of India's elections, what are the dimensions, what are the things being done,